G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today we're going to be having a look at the good old faithful S.O.8000 Narval. This plane has been overall absolutely amazing to me and has almost always provided with some good entertaining flying. Now, in certain circumstances, this plane can be extremely relaxing to fly, and this is one of those types of matches that we're going to be seeing today. But before we actually get into the action, I would like to suggest something, or at least propose an idea. A lot of people, especially in my 25,000 subscriber Q&A, which was a very long time ago, I know, but I have been pretty much constantly thinking about it, and the types of questions I was asked were very War Thunder related. Now, obviously I didn't get a chance to answer them all, and I would kind of like to do something like that. I would kind of like to have a video series where I'm asked a couple of War Thunder related questions, and then I give my thoughts or give an answer or a solution or something along those lines. And if you guys would like to see a video series like that, do let me know in the comments section below. I do know that there is a Rainbow Six Siege YouTuber called Matimio, I think it is, who does Mailbox Monday or Mailbox Sunday or something like that, which is basically the Rainbow Six version of that. And I kind of want to start stimulating a regular conversation regarding War Thunder, particularly around the subscribers of my channel, but obviously that'll have some good flow-on effects with the rest of the War Thunder community. So let me know what you'd like to be seeing, if you'd like to see it or not, but I thank you for your input. Anyway, now, like I said, the Narval is very, very relaxing to fly. But on this channel, we don't want relaxing. No, we want hardcore, absolutely mad, never-ending action. And that's exactly what you're going to get here. Let's go into a particular clip that I recorded, which was the game before this one. Now, obviously, I am below my opponents. We are not in a great situation. So we're going to put the Narval basically to its limits. This clip, or the purpose of this clip, is to kind of show you roughly how far the Narval can be pushed. It does have a little bit of turning capability, but it isn't exactly a turn fighter. I would definitely put it more on the spectrum of an energy fighter. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the nose down, pick up a little bit of speed, and this Focke-Wulf 190 decides he wants to come in and dive for my booty. So I'm going to put in some rolls and just come in a little bit underneath him, try and get him to overshoot, cutting down underneath again, which is basically forcing him to use more of his turn than his roll, which I know I can get above. Now, I have to stay above the roll rate of the K4 as well, because the K4 is going to become nice and close to outturning me, but he doesn't. He overshoots massively because he overcooks it in a dive, and because I get to put those 6 MG151s to use, I managed to get a critical hit, and this will end up with this guy bailing. So I have one down, I have the Focke-Wulf 190 A5 U12 to go, and then I also have a Dora and a BF109 G6 who are all sitting behind me. The Focke-Wulf 190 is able to sort of come up nice and close, and look how close he manages to get. The Narval can turn a little bit, but it will be daringly close. But what it is able to do is it's able to do those little last minute snap maneuvers which you can pull against things that don't do that, like the German props. Now, D9 coming in underneath me, and I'm doing my level best to sort of roll and turn out of my way using my flaps and putting the plane in a dive. But notice how much energy I've shredded. That Focke-Wulf 190 was well above me, and that fight happened less than 20 seconds ago. So you can just imagine how much energy this thing can dump. You've got to be really, really mindful of when you're in a dogfight, how much energy you are going to dump and how much you have left, especially against something like a D13, which retains energy ridiculously well, or a D9, or a K4, or any German prop at all. The Italian props as well are going to be ridiculously powerful, and that is also something that you need to keep in mind. Now, I'm basically going to be energy trapped underneath this D9. So basically, I'm this D9's bitch. I can only do whatever he will let me do. And so I'm just going to try and give chase. I can't really climb out away from it, and I certainly cannot run. This thing only performs exceptionally well at about 8,000 meters. So you can kiss your ass goodbye when you're at these sorts of low altitudes. You're really not going to be that performer. You're going to kind of be an average Joe. You're not really going to be exceptional at anything. You really need that altitude advantage, and once you get it, it is going to be an easy ride, which we will kind of see in the next clip of the main battle. So, I'm going to be continuing to follow this D9, and the D9 is particularly strong at low altitudes, although we're starting to sort of creep into those medium altitudes. Being almost 2 kilometers above me, this D9 is basically at 4,000 meters, so his performance is starting to drop off, I believe, but you can just see how even at that sort of area, the Narval just is not a match for something like the D13 or the D9 or the D12, or in fact any prop at this BR. It is one of the slowest props at low altitude. That is why getting that altitude in this thing is so crucial, because especially once you get that altitude, and you can at least keep on to some of it. Now, this particular BF-109 has headed straight towards me, and I've realized that I'm basically screwed. I have nothing left to do, so you know what, I might as well take a little kill with me. This BF-109 G10 is deciding to sort of commit to a head-on. I come really close. If I had died, it is probably just prolonging the inevitable, because the Dora is coming right back for me, and he cuts my tail clean off. At least I will eventually get this kill for the BF-109, because he is plummeting straight towards the ground, but you really need to hang on to that altitude, and that's exactly what we're going to be seeing here. So, we're going to be having a look at the nice and calm battle in the S.O.8000 Narval. Now, the Narval has always been a difficult plane to fly. However, once you do learn how to fly it, it becomes extremely rewarding. When I first got this plane, I actually hated it, which kind of doesn't surprise anyone considering the way that I first hated the MiG-19 when I flew it. I kind of hate the Hunters still, although the Hunter F1 isn't so bad now. That's kind of the way I work. At first I'm like, no, I hate it, and then I kind of grow to like it. It could just be that masochism drives me to try and make the plane work. And in this case, it basically paid off. The S.O.8000 Narval is actually a fairly competitive plane. It does hold on to that energy if you treat it right. And you can see in this match, you're starting to come across a couple of planes that aren't really climbing. And your opponents, if they don't climb, it's pretty much a done deal for them. You have the firepower, you have the energy retention, you have the speed, and you have the maneuverability. What you don't have is the climb rate. So you really need to make sure that you are at least within reach of your opponents when the battle begins. If you are 2 kilometers below your enemy, you're basically asking to lose. You ideally should be climbing to 6,000 meters, but depending on how the battle goes, I would sort of stick more towards your team. Especially if your opponents are deciding not to climb as much, they may just be able to sweep your teammates off the map before you can even get towards the battlefield. So when I say climb to a certain height, definitely do that within a certain tolerance. You don't want to just take my word and apply it 100% of the time, because each match will play out differently. And of course, that's what keeps me coming back to War Thunder. This whole game is kind of the same game mode. We've had the same game modes for 5 years, and some people do get bored of that, but for me, every match plays out differently. I have not had a single match that has played out identically, ever. Not at least within my memory. Although I wouldn't doubt that there are several matches where I've just gone in as a B-17, gotten swept up by a Ta-152, and then returned to hangar before even dropping my bombs. But that's sort of beside the point. All the matches that I've had that have gone on for more than, say, 5 minutes have been absolutely unique, and you have to basically play a different way every single time. Obviously, you don't have to play drastically differently, but what I'm doing here is I'm sort of modifying my technique in order to benefit my team and to benefit the battlefield as much as possible. My team is sort of starting to get into these low-altitude dogfights, and the German team here has decided that climbing is for sissies, and they're not really going to bother. Now, spotting this this Focke-Wulf 190 through the clouds, I managed to oof him before he's even spotted, which is absolutely lovely for me and absolutely terrifying for the I said BF-109 again. See, I'm talking about the superior plane here. You know, the BF-109 is superior, and UK Octane, no, you cannot say otherwise. Oh, I'm going to get some funny comments from that one. Anyway, speaking of Focke-Wulf 190, here's another victim, but it's okay because I cannot aim for my life. So, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be continuing forward and flying right into this guy's guns, because why not? They don't have any energy, there's not a whole lot they can do, and I'm just going to put the plane into a vertical for my friend here in the, I think it's a Corsair, yep, to come and sweep up. Now he doesn't sweep it up, instead I put my plane into the vertical, storing that altitude into energy, and you can see how quickly this thing loses energy if you do not treat it right. You have to be super conservative when you boom and zoom with this plane, but at the same time you can energy dogfight. So basically unlock the potential of the plane whenever you see fit. In this particular point, I've decided that dogfighting is the way to go, since I have plenty of teammates around and a lot of the German planes here are on low energy. Not only that, but we also outnumber them, and this D13 is about to oof himself into the ground. ME410 decides he wants to go head-on, and a stupid late head-on from me results in a nice kill, which was ridiculously lucky. Honestly, do not do this, please. I know I do it, but I only do it because I'm an absolute fucking moron. So unless you want to drink the stupid juice with me and become an absolute fucking moron, then I'd go for it. But otherwise, if you kind of want to play smart, don't force those sort of risky head-ons. Avoid playing with that risk, and you'll find that you actually end up playing a little bit better. Albeit sometimes you do play a little bit conservative, but that's not too bad a deal when you have, say, a teammate with you, or when you have, you know, a fairly comfortable match. Now, speaking of comfortable, my aim is not very comfortable. It's actually pretty garbage in this thing at times. I don't know if it was because of the low ping or the servers just deciding that they didn't want to live anymore, but unfortunately I don't get the shot on that Dornier 335 and am denied my ace this way, which is okay because someone else at least gets to take home one kill, a little bit of RP, a little bit of Lions, and some bragging rights for their stat card. Anyway, that's beside the point. Notice now that I am at low altitudes with my Narval, and I'm really struggling to pick up altitude. Now, I think this is down to the fact that the plane is just heavy, but honestly, this plane does not pick up speed. It does not pick up altitude, and that is something that you have to be extremely mindful of. The beginning of the match for the Narval is literally the most crucial part. If you do not climb, you will find this plane ridiculously frustrating to fly. You'll always have TAR 152s above you, you'll always have 109s above you, you'll always have Yaks above you, and you will suffer. But the moment you can get at least, say, 70% of those guys underneath you, you can at least dogfight the 2 or 3 TAR 152s or Focke-Wulf 190s or BF-109s or Yaks that come your way, and that just makes your life a whole lot easier. This plane is an extremely capable dogfighter, and as you can see from the first clip, you can pull out magic from your ass if you really want to, but it leaves you very, very open. If you are going to fly this plane risky, I would highly recommend that you take a few teammates with you. Take a couple of squad mates, work together very closely. And this is something that I really found prominent with those sort of pusher type planes. They're not particularly amazing turners. They can turn when they need to, kind of like the J21. In fact, now that I think about it, this plane flies extremely similarly to the J21. It doesn't climb particularly well, but I reckon, as a sort of hypothetical or as a little guess, that the S.O.8000 Narval would be a really, really nice Wolfpack fighter. And thinking back to previous videos that I've done on this plane, it does kind of work that way as a Wolfpack fighter. Anyway, there is my ace on the 288, again displaying the ability of this thing to absolutely shred overpowered bombers. Anyway, speaking of the overpowered bombers, the last guy decided to land and bail, giving us a nice little ace, a very relaxing match, and some food for thought. Anyway, ladies and gents, that is the S.O.8000 Narval. Also, let me know about what you think about this sort of video idea that I've not quite come up with, but stolen. But anyway, ladies and gents, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourself, and I'll catch you next time.